Y'all, I just got back from seeing Captain America 4, and this movie was actually pretty decent, bro. I was expecting this to be absolute garbage, obviously, with Marvel's recent track record, but this was a decent and kind of solid movie, right? And no, I can already see the comments. It's not because I'm black, okay? Relax yourselves. This was actually a decent movie. Let's talk about the things that I liked first. Sam Wilson in this movie, his story as Captain America, I thought was pretty strong. It could have been better. I'll talk about that later, but it was a strong story for an intro, movie for the character. I think that them differentiating him from, Steve Rogers as Captain America, I thought was well done. I think that the idea that Sam Wilson is a different iteration, right? He doesn't have the super soldier serum. He's dealing with foreign affairs, with politics more than we saw Steve do it, while also being introduced into taking this mantle of Captain America. And I think that the scene with him and Bucky, seeing them interact was fun. It was a funny moment too when Bucky revealed, with someone speaking for him, right? Giving him a speech or whatever. He basically said that Sam, in comparison to Steve gives people an idea to strive towards, but Sam gives people a model of someone that you can aspire to be because he doesn't have powers. He's going out there, he's grinding, he's fighting Red Hulk, he's fighting and doing jet planes, battling with random super soldiers and all this stuff with no powers at all. He's truly fighting for the people with just his might, his willpower, and who he truly is. This movie is more about Sam accepting himself as Captain America than other people accepting him as Cap, and I thought that story narrative was great. And Harrison Ford as Red Hulk, I thought he did a great job in this movie. He was believable. They even gave him some heart too with the stuff with him and Betty. It was cool to see Betty for the first time since 2008. I mean, this is crazy, right? So they brought her back and that was nice. He could have been fleshed out a bit more. We'll talk about that a little later, but I thought that the stuff with Harrison Ford, the Red Hulk, them like teasing, Red Hulk showing and then pulling it back, and then he finally unleashes Red Hulk and has some great action scenes with Captain America later on in the film. There were some horror elements to it. The physicality of it was great, right? The unpredictability to a sense was crazy, and I like the fact that Sam didn't beat him physically. He beat him with words and inspiration and hope, and that is what Captain America is supposed to do. And I thought there was other action scenes that were solid. The tone was very balanced in this movie. There wasn't a lot of ebbing and flowing with jokes and bad comedy and bad humor. It stayed pretty tonally consistent, which is a nice change of pace, you know what I'm saying? But other than that, I think that, the stuff with Isaiah Bradley was solid. The stuff with Joaquin was decent. But now to stop the glazing, okay, let's talk about some of the things that I didn't like and the things that I thought held this movie back from being great, or amazing. Number one, this movie clearly needed another 10 to 15 minutes to flesh out multiple different plot and story threads. It needed more time to flesh out Sam, even though I thought they did a good job of showing like his actual life outside of being Cap. They needed more time to flesh that story out, the story dynamics with Bradley kind of just being locked up in prison the whole movie. I thought they could have done more with that. They could have done more with Joaquin and his story, more with the leader and what he's been up to the last decade, and also, the backstory for Thunderbolt Ross and what's been happening with him specifically in his storyline, right? It could have given more heart, more depth to what was happening with him. Even though what they did was solid on the surface, they could have gone deeper with that. I think that personally, the green screen and the VFX, this is expected at this point. The green screen and VFX were super shoddy in multiple scenes and were just straight up garbage in certain aspects of the movie, and it takes you out of certain scenes when you're seeing them stand in front of a green screen and just read dialogue. It doesn't work, right? And then on top of that, I personally think that some of the plot started to mesh together with each other in a bad way and mix and convolute the movie a little bit. When you have different things with politics and the Celestials sticking out of the ground and Thunderbolt's kind of underdeveloped, the leader's kind of underdeveloped. You have them clashing with Sam and he's got to do this and do that when you could be doing more stuff to introduce him into this new, era of his character as Captain America. Things of that nature. And there's a couple other things that I'll probably make videos about as well, but those are the general flaws that I thought really brought this movie down from being great and just kept it at being solid. So overall, my final thoughts on the movie, I would probably say it's between a solid 7 to 7.5 out of 10. I know it's crazy. I haven't given it a positive movie review for Marvel since probably like Guardians 3 or something like that. But yes, this movie was solid in my personal opinion. After everything I've discussed for why I like it, didn't like it, and all the factors that played inside of this movie, I would give it a solid 7 out of 10. And at the end of the day, that's just how I feel about it, right? You gotta be balanced, and I gotta be honest with y'all, and that's just the way it was. I've been bashing Marvel for, the last 3 to 4 years, which have been disastrous for the company. But at the end of the day, I enjoyed this. Solid 7 out of 10. Let me know what you thought about Captain America 4.